Welcome back to Inland Empire Live. Right now we are with Steve Creech from Wyland Foundation. Welcome.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
You know, Steve was just telling us it's all about the water. This high quality H2O. Steve, the world runs on water. We got water all in our body, the earth, but we need clean water, right? I know the Wyland Foundation for a long, long time has made it one of their paramount efforts to really, water conservation, correct? And it still lives today.
Oh, yeah. Well, we need two things to survive, right? We need clean air and clean water, right? Yeah. So the Wyland Foundation has sort of been focused around what we can do as communities to take care of our water resources. So if you look back 30 years ago, Wyland is this famous marine life artist, and he started painting these giant marine life murals all around the world, just raising awareness about the life off our shores and what we can do to take care of it. And for a lot of people, they hadn't even seen a life-size whale in those days. This was before you could create a 3M super graphic and put it on the side of a building. So at that time, there was Wyland, who was creating blue whales on sports arenas and skyscrapers and saying to people, no matter where you lived, if you were 3,000 miles away from the ocean, you would see one of his murals and you'd say, oh, some way we're connected to what's happening downstream, right? So as time went on, we realized that we really need to close this information gap. People really need to understand that what we're doing upstream is having a massive effect on what's happening downstream. Or another way of looking at it is we all live downstream from somebody else, right? So what we put into our waterways and our watersheds ultimately becomes someone else's problem, right? So we have to look at it as a complete ecosystem that we manage and take care of. So the Wyland Foundation started getting more involved in the issues that affect our water, what we use, what we consume, even the food that we grow and the fertilizers that we use, because a lot of those fertilizers end up in the water system. The water runs downstream, runs out to the ocean. You get these huge algae blooms. And a lot of people don't realize that with these algae blooms, there are these massive die-offs, and you have these oxygen-free dead zones, right? Nothing can live in it. But now we're starting to put together the concept that what we're doing upstream and what we're using and what we're disposing of affects everything. Yeah. So the Wyland Foundation takes this position that we're bringing people together for clean water and healthy oceans. What we do upstream affects what we do downstream. And so a few years ago, we got this great idea because we were traveling all over the US and we were meeting with cities like San Bernardino and Washington, DC and Atlanta. We were going everywhere, and we'd host these big events about water. And after a while, we were doing this months out of every year. We thought maybe we could do this better. So we developed a Clean Water Mobile Learning Center, which is a science center on wheels. It's 1,000 square feet inside. It's got a movie theater. Kids can make it rain inside. There's a running river. It's incredible. Touchscreens, everything. So now we travel throughout the year. We bring this exhibit to cities like here in San Bernardino. We're going to be out in Rialto soon. If you're a school, you can give us a call. We can bring it to your community. But the idea is we're reaching out to schools and communities that don't have access to these great world-class museums. We bring it directly into the communities, and we're getting great results with it.
And you recently had the National Mayor's Challenge going on. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That's also one of our programs too. And again, with the foundation, we're about building bridges, and we're not a political organization. We're about inspiring people to learn about what's happening around the world, get more informed, and take action. Now, the National Mayor's Challenge for Water Conservation is a program we do with mayors all across the United States.
Including San Bernardino.
Including San Bernardino. Yeah. And they've been doing a great job. So they get their residents all excited about it, and they make a pledge on behalf of their city to save water at home, in their yard, in their community, tell their friends about it. Even the schools can take part in it, right? So the cities with the highest percentage of residents that take part in it, well, we've got over $50,000 in eco-friendly prizes for them. So green cleaners, we'll pay your utility bills for a year. So there's lots of great incentives. In addition to saving water, doing your part as an ambassador for your city, we also have great prizes. And the other part that's really great is if the city wins, And let's just say the city doesn't win this year. We hope they do, but if they don't, they can do it again next year. And the residents that make pledges, you can also nominate a charity in the community. And if the city wins, then we can give that charity a Toyota Highlander hybrid that they can use for years to come, serving the community. So the idea is to bridge what we're doing, the good work with the environment, with continued community service, bring it all together. Because we don't all just live in a vacuum, right? Yeah. How we treat our environment is part of the fabric of our community. It's for a lot of people, it's like going to church or just something that's very important, like going to school. And I think people are really starting to see that now, that it's not just a fringe element. It's not just a group of people standing in front of a supermarket saying, save the rainforest. This is about something that we really need to think about every day. I'm sorry.
And Steve, to kind of piggyback off that, so you said everyone doing their part. Like if you're watching this show right now at home, thinking, well, how do I do my part? What are some simple things that people can do at home? Sure. While we wait for the science lab to roll into your town, what are some other things that you can do just at home on an everyday basis?
Well, I could give you a bunch of suggestions. One good way to do it is you can actually go to our website, mywaterpledge.com, and we'll have tons of activities and strategies that you can use at home to save water. And you can go to wylandfoundation.org. You can also learn about it. But there's so many things you can do. Some of them are very simple. Some of them you may not even think about. And what we're really talking about is reducing our waste. Use what you need. And a lot of us use much more than what we need. So, local communities are starting to become more proactive and saying, even things like the plastic straw issue. It's a change. Change is hard for people. But if we can start looking at things and questioning the assumptions, do we need to have a straw with everything we drink? And then when we throw out our straw, we've always assumed that somebody's going to pick up after us, take it to a landfill, it's going to go to the landfill, and it's going to magically sort of dissolve there, right? But when you have 1 million people doing it, 10 million people doing it, 50 million people doing it, when you have 3 billion people who are all throwing away their straw and thinking somebody else is going to pick up after, eventually the chickens are going to come home to roost. And now that's why we're starting to see problems like we have these plastic islands in the ocean because the debris is running out downstream, out into the ocean, and it's just staying there. It breaks down a little bit, but it's staying there forever. So, things are changing, and I think we need to recognize what some of these issues are. They're all solvable, but we have to acknowledge that they're problems that need to be solved. So that's what the foundation does. It's about managing the environment, it's about smart strategies, and just raising awareness about the important things that we need to do as a community. And that's why it's so important for people in San Bernardino to get together, take the mayor's challenge, make a pledge on behalf of your city, but become more aware of what's happening, and then you can start taking action. And then things start to get better. But we can't do it if we're not talking with one another and acknowledging the issues that are happening.
And what environmental challenges do you see ahead of us?
Well, right now, one of the biggest challenges that we have is the runoff issue. And this is something that it's going to be new to a lot of people. But in order to feed all the people that we have in the United States and around the world, we need to grow a lot of food. In order to grow a lot of food, we need to fertilize a lot of food. And as we're doing that, we have more runoff from fertilizers, from detergents, all the things that we use in our life. And that's what creates these toxic algae blooms. And it really does impact our water systems. Now it gets a little trickier because the climate is changing too. So with the changing climate, these issues of runoff and algae blooms and dead zones, they become magnified. So if we pull it all back and we look at it again, okay, so if we're using less, and if we're using less water, it's not just about saving that water, it's also about using less energy to draw all that water that needs to be pumped in to Southern California. And the state of California alone, we use 20% of our energy, 20% of our electricity just to move, heat, and treat water. And think about that. So if you can cut your energy use by 20%, then think about all the greenhouse gases that are not going into the air, because you need to create the power to generate the movement of all that water. It gets complicated. Now, the other thing I would suggest to folks is the more science literate we become, the more we understand how all of this works together, understanding earth science, understanding the way our communities operate, we're going to be able to make better decisions. And ultimately, that's the point here.
Steve, I know you mentioned the website, but can you mention it one more time as we wrap this up?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's wylandfoundation.org.
Yeah.
That'll tell you everything if you want to book our Clean Water Mobile Learning Center. And if you want to learn about ways you can conserve water, save the planet, help your community, go to mywaterpledge.com. You know, we really appreciate it. This is a great community out here. I know they want to do something. So this is a great way to get involved.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
and we'll be right back.
And a big thanks to everyone out there for watching Inland Empire Alive on IEMG.
To stay connected, subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next time on Inland Empire Alive.